He's fucking jacked.
So you think that makes him faster?
That's a good question.
You think it makes him faster?
That's a good question.
Piss test, how dare you?
But B, I'm not
I
sure.
don't think he's doing anything, but he might be.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Looks
though,
good.
B, that his
Look at that. Come on,
skills-
son. Look at that.
Yeah.
Callan's jerking off to this later.
I am.
100%.
I have a boner that could cut glass right now.
There's a
Holy shit.
photo on one of the websites that shows him at when he's fighting at 47, ripped versus him fighting now at 68, ripped, and he definitely.
Joe Rogan highlighted how bold Terence Crawford's move up in weight truly is.
Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, I think he won.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win.
So
but
I
he's
asked-
going to have to box a brilliant.
Rogan pointed out that Crawford's move wasn't a simple step between nearby weight classes. Instead, he was jumping from 147 pounds to 168, a leap most fighters would never even attempt. Rogan respected the fact that Crawford added size the right way, taking the time to build real strength rather than rushing. Even so, he acknowledged that the challenge carried huge risks, especially since Canelo Alvarez has long dominated the super middleweight division and is notoriously difficult to damage.
Get away.
Crawford and Canelo. What do you think of that? Personally, I'm a big Crawford fan, so I'm going to lean his way. My only concern is just the size. It didn't look like Terence's power transferred in the last fight, so now it's up some more. You know what I mean?
Part of the problem with that is Oddrom's really good.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think Crawford is. That's weird to say against Canelo, but I think he's the better boxer, and I think he's the guy who can make the better in-fight adjustments if Canelo does kill him.
Gonna be interesting, to tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it's a big jump. Go from 54, which was step up for 47, right? So it goes to 54, now they're going to 58. That's so.
Rogan highlighted just how dangerous Canelo Alvarez can be, reminding listeners of the time he fractured Billy Joe Saunders' face in their fight. He also noted that Alvarez has never been knocked down throughout his entire career. Speaking with guest John Rollo, Rogan concluded that while Crawford is an exceptional fighter, the matchup feels wide open. The size gap is huge, and with so little room for mistakes, it's hard to call a clear favorite.
Guys that just have preposterous power, and Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power, just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this, use power. And you see him down there, bro, he hits so.
Crawford's journey through boxing has been impressive, but his next fight has sparked debates across the sport. One voice weighing in is Ray Robinson, a former amateur rival who knows exactly how difficult Crawford can be. In 2005, Robinson met him in the U.S. Championship quarterfinals and became one of the few fighters ever to hand Crawford a loss. Across 111 bouts as both an amateur and a professional, Crawford has only 12 defeats, and Robinson still holds one of those rare wins. Reflecting on the upcoming matchup, Robinson praised Crawford's ability to adapt and find solutions in the ring. He suggested that if the fight goes the distance, Crawford could edge Alvarez on points. But if Canelo lands clean, the outcome might change in an instant.
To go against Crawford, how good he is, and how he figure out ways how to win. You know what I mean? So you can't take nothing from him, and you can't blame him trying to be great. I understand that, but it's gonna be a good fight.
Leaning towards him? Do you feel like you're not sure at this stage?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I look at it as if we go the distance, I think Crawford will win. But if Canelo, touch him, it might be a little different. But honestly, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight, and I think it's more of the fans win. You know what I mean? It's two great fighters fighting each other at their best. So it's definitely going to be, an amazing fight, and I think the fans win more than.
George Kambasos Jr., a fighter who knows what it takes to deliver an upset, weighed in on Crawford's challenge against Canelo. He noted that Alvarez struggled to cut off the ring in his most recent fight with William Skull, which sparked questions about whether Canelo has lost a step. Still, Cambasos cautioned that when a fighter of Alvarez's caliber is on the big stage, he often finds another gear.
Boxing attributes. And like I said, Canelo has to press Crawford. He has to be able to use his size, bully him, and able to land them shots that are going to hurt him and put him in 2 frames of mind. Now Crawford, on the other hand, as much as the size difference doesn't really look like there is a size difference, there is a difference in the weight they've been fighting at. And like I said, Canelo's been fighting as high as a light heavyweight. Crawford, in his last fight, did go up to junior middleweight against Madrimov. He did seem to struggle a little bit with a guy at a higher weight. So now you're moving up to super middleweight, will have some effect. But again, it is the biggest fight of his life, biggest fight of Canelo's life, and you're gonna truly think that they're gonna be prepared for anything. But the big thing is, will Crawford be able to dictate the fight against a guy like Canelo Alvarez, who's the bigger man, the guy who's gonna be pushing the pressure? We saw the way he dictated and hurt Errol.
Heavyweight contender Bryant Jennings, remembered for going the distance with Vladimir Klitschko in 2015, has a BUI very different perspective. He rejects the old saying that a bigger fighter always beats a smaller one, insisting that Crawford's speed, athleticism, and determination can close the size gap. Jennings pointed out that history has seen smaller. Boxers hurt larger opponents, and he believes this fight will be no different. In his view, Crawford has what it takes to adapt, and he predicts a close contest ending in a split decision win for Crawford.
I'm leaning more towards Crawford as time goes on. And I guess it's just him coming from a lower weight, because it's like, me witnessing a person like, Boots, that's a lower weight, and like a lot of times weight don't really matter, because I've seen him smash guys that are just like way bigger than him. So I'm looking at it in a sense of, I think Crawford can handle the weight difference, and he could bring, the elusiveness of a lower. I mean, Canelo lower too, but Canelo fight more like a bully in a sense. He's lower too. He's good too, but he just fight more with like more strength, overpowering. He has great technique. He's great, but I'm just looking at the athleticism and the will that Crawford always had and always brought. And I'm just thinking of that just transforming into like this weight difference. The weight difference is the only thing that we could pretty much, argue about. But I think with the weight difference, with me witnessing like smaller guys really just like do damage to bigger guys, it's like, what, that kind of really don't matter in a sense, as long as you're good on your game, you're good on your feet, and you can duck.
Promoter Eddie Hearn also weighed in, saying Crawford has a genuine chance if he follows the right strategy. He referenced Canelo Alvarez's 2022 loss to Dimitri Bivol as the model to follow. In that bout, Bivol relied on movement, sharp angles, and well-timed bursts of offense to blunt Canelo's power and earn a decision victory. Hearn suggested that if Crawford can stay mobile, dictate the pace, and avoid standing still, he could find success. Still, he warned that Alvarez is fully at home at 168 pounds, while Crawford will be entering unfamiliar ground.
But it's a fight, one of the best fights that can be made in boxing. Backwards and forwards on it, if I'm honest. I mean, my worry is, I see the size of Crawford, he looks pumped up, like much bigger, obviously, than usual. And it's very difficult to do that to your body and go in and perform like you always perform. I don't know if that's going to help him or hinder him. I hate picking against Canelo Alvarez because, I say he's a mate. I respect him a huge amount. We work together. I worry if he's the same fighter at this stage of his career. I mean, let's be honest, both guys are old in terms of, fighters in their prime. But what's Crawford, 36, 37? Canelo, but same 36, they're the same kind of age, I think. I worry about Canelo's legs. I remember watching the Skull fight, and he was demotivated for the Skull fight, so he can't take too much from it, but I just felt that his legs looked like they were slowing down a little bit. And, can Crawford handle the power at 168? Let's be honest, he didn't look sensational against Madrimov. at 154. Like, he's been so inactive. He's been fighting once a year for the last 2 years, 3 years even. Right now, my head is just leaning with Crawford.
Analyst. Max Kellerman made his stance even clearer, siding with Crawford in the matchup. He argued that while both fighters are getting older, Alvarez has absorbed far more punishment, having turned pro as a teenager and faced elite competition for nearly 20 years. In contrast, Kellerman noted, Crawford has steadily moved up in weight and consistently defeated top-tier opponents, highlighted by dominant victories over Errol Spence Jr. and Israel Madrimov. In his view, Crawford currently checks more boxes than Alvarez, which is why he favors the Nebraska native to pull off the win.
This fight, out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched,
in terms of the magnitude of the fight?
Yeah, the magnitude, yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. Those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in 78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, per buy, watch, that's 20 million people. This is gonna do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event.
Stephen A. Smith echoed a similar view, openly predicting that Crawford would defeat Alvarez on points rather than by knockout. Smith explained that while he doubts anyone can stop Canelo inside the ring, Crawford's speed, movement, and ability to switch stances make him the ideal fighter to outscore the Mexican champion. He criticized Alvarez for relying too heavily on loading up power punches instead of varying his offense, arguing that such predictability could be costly against someone as sharp as Crawford. Still, Smith acknowledged that Canelo's natural size and long experience at 168 pounds remain factors Crawford must handle carefully, especially by avoiding prolonged exchanges where the bigger man can assert himself.
Who's gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger stroke fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready.
He's
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But
former light. Heavyweight champion Antonio Tarver voiced his support for Crawford, praising his ring IQ and overall command inside the ropes. While acknowledging Alvarez's greatness, Tarver felt Crawford's speed and unpredictability could tip the balance in his favor. Zab Judah went even further, arguing that Crawford's reflexes, quickness, and intelligence are tailor-made to frustrate Canelo and gradually break him down over 12 rounds. Judah even suggested that if Alvarez begins to fade late, Crawford's high-level skill set could open the door to a possible stoppage.
Canelo and Crawford.
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen him stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops it. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised.
If Canelo stops Crawford.
Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, coach?
Caleb Plant, who has shared the ring with Alvarez, offered a more balanced take. He recognized that both men bring unique strengths. Canelo with his power and experience, Crawford with his precision and adaptability. For Plant, the outcome isn't just about physical tools, it's about mental toughness and execution. He sees the matchup as one that could go either way, depending on who manages to impose their game plan.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside, and he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and be able to find out.
Kyron Davis shared his perspective, pointing to Crawford's mental toughness and adaptability as potential deciding factors. Despite the jump in weight, Davis doesn't expect Crawford to lose his quickness or ring intelligence. Instead, he views the move as another chance for Crawford to demonstrate the versatility that has defined his career. For Davis, Crawford's ability to adjust in real time could prove just as valuable as any physical edge Alvarez possesses.
Have you been in there with Crawford? Yeah. So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience, but then you got Crawford got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody could do it, it'll be.
All these takes show just how split the boxing community is. Some think Canelo's size, strength, and comfort at super middleweight are simply too much for Crawford to overcome. Others believe Crawford's speed, sharpness, and ring IQ are exactly what he needs to even the playing field. With Fight Night right around the corner, opinions are flying in from every direction, but no one can say for sure how it plays out. Is it the classic big man beats the little man, or will Crawford's greatness shine through and deliver something historic? Either way, September 13th has all the makings of a night to remember.